What is up, everybody? J-Nell here with my UFC 220 prediction videos coming this upcoming Saturday. I'm super excited for it from the Boston Garden. But first, we have a UFC fight night from St. Louis, Missouri tonight, actually on Sunday here. I'm going to be at work for the whole thing. I'm leaving in a couple of hours here. But I do have 4 picks for the 4 fights on the main card. Who I'm choosing to win is Michael Johnson, Kamaru Usman, Paige Van Zandt, and in the main event, we're seeing Jeremy Stephens take on Choi. Jeremy Stephens, for me, he has one-punch knockout power. He has good wrestling, he has good combinations, can measure his cardio when he wants to. He's incredibly inconsistent. Within the same fight, the Renato Moicano fight, where he was winning that fight behind his jab, behind his combinations, I think he just got impatient and started headhunting and lost that fight. In his record, he's always faced a high level of competition. He has a lot of fights. He is the veteran, but again, his record is spotty, just inconsistent. With Choi, he is newer. He's 26 years old, only has about 4 fights in the UFC, but they're all actually against some serious competition. They've kind of thrown him into the game. You know, they're not, it's a fast start for Choi. He is fantastic in the octagon. He is exciting to watch, a fan favorite. He has a jiu-jitsu background, but you wouldn't know it. He's got submission victories, but he's got way more knockouts and KOs from the spinning kicks and the cartwheel kicks, and I think he's gonna have quicker body movement, quicker footwork. He's really unpredictable and creative, which I think he'll be able to bait Stephens into a brawl. I think he'll be able to get him off his game. Plus, at 26, he's got mandatory military service coming up in South Korea, so I want him to go out on a win. Picking it for Choi. Now, on to UFC 220 from the Boston Garden. Now, from the main event, I am choosing Thomas Almeida to beat Rob Font. I am choosing Jean Vellante to beat, oh my gosh, what is Francimir Barroso? What is wrong with me right now? I think I'm just too excited to get to the main event. I am choosing Shane Burgos to beat Calvin Kattar. Now, in the co-main event, we are seeing the UFC light heavyweight champion, Mr. DC Daniel Cormier, take on Mr. Volkan Ozdemir. Ozdemir is an example. There's one of the definitions of success is success equals preparation plus opportunity, and I think Volkan is a true example of that. He had a great shining performance against Ngannou at the same time as John Jones being disqualifying himself, and Gustafsson getting injured. So shining at the perfect time, ready for the opportunity, and here he is taking on Daniel Cormier in, I think he's only been in the UFC for 2 years, 10 months, something like that. Someone let me know. I know it's an incredibly short amount of time that he is now getting a title shot here. He is a kickboxer first, kickboxing base. You can see by those combinations, especially the one that he knocked out Jimmy Manuwa with. He's got feints and he's able to bait you into his power. Great boxing there from what we've seen in his short fights. He is a protege of Alistair Overeem. If you didn't know that, he was a training partner of his. Alistair was the one that suggested he start fighting himself, and he helped him go through his first training camp for his first fight, and he helped put together his first fight. So I actually, in my little research, I found all that out. I was like, oh, okay. So he's had high caliber talent behind him from the beginning, and it shows. He seems like he's very ready for this opportunity that he's gotten very quickly. Sharp boxing. I think he'll have quicker hand speed than Daniel Cormier. He's not, the measurements are around the same, but I think he fights longer than DC, and he'll need to use that. He's going to need to strike and strike early. Get DC hesitant to come in. DC has a great chin, but after being knocked out, we know that fighters sometimes aren't quite the same. And after that last fight with JJ, where he got kicked in the face and then beat down to the ground, knocked out, and then knocked back into consciousness, it was ugly. So we don't know how his chin's gonna be after that. We've seen fighters change after that, so maybe there's an in there for Volkan. You're gonna have to try to strike early. I think, again, have him respect your power early. So he's really good with the dirty boxing, so I'm not sure, Volkan, you want to get in there with the dirty boxing. I think DC is going to be physically stronger than him. Let's start talking about DC now. DC is going to be the highest caliber wrestler he's ever fought, Olympic caliber wrestler. He's just off the podium there. He's got MMA wrestling where he beats you up while he throws you around. He tosses grown men around like children inside the octagon. It is fantastic to see. It's beautiful, and he has a great chin, like I said, and he's developed his boxing. He's knocked people out. I think Volkan's gonna have quicker hand speed. I also think he might have better body movement on the feet. He's gonna need to use those kicks, try to take away a will, try to slow down the wrestling and the pressure of DC, because DC's gonna come at him, and he's like a downhill snowball. Once he gets going, it gets worse and worse for you. So you're gonna have to be early, be first. High offensive output. I'm not sure if you can knock him out. He's got great power. Like I said, after DC's been knocked out, maybe there's an in there, but you need to stay on him early and stay on him the whole time. You're gonna have to outwork DC. You're gonna have to have a higher offensive output as far as your stand-up game. Do everything you can to avoid getting taken down. You've got great takedown defense up to date, but I don't think you're gonna be able to stop DC. I definitely believe DC will take Volkan Ozdemir down. So when that happens, do all you can to get up. Maybe you got some sneaky submissions in there, I don't know. DC got submissions too, baby, and I think he's gonna be so much more physically stronger than you on the ground. If it gets to the ground, I think it's gonna look like a man wrestling a boy. I do. So your best bet is to avoid that altogether, baby. If it gets into the dirty boxing, do what you got to do, throw an elbow or something quick and get out. Get out. Keep this in space. Try to outwork him and maybe point yourself to a decision victory. Maybe get a KO if the chin's now suspect. I'm calling it for DC. Yeah. Main event, and the fight that we've all been so just salivating, waiting for. We have the baddest man on the planet, the UFC heavyweight champion, Mr. Stipe Miocic, on pace to break the heavyweight title defense record with this one, trying to make history against probably the most highly touted prospect we've seen in years, maybe ever in the heavyweight division, maybe since Brock Lesnar. All eyes are on this man, Mr. Francis Ngannou. All right, let's talk about this. Let's break down the challenger first. Mr. Francis Ngannou, as we know, came from the streets of Cameroon to the streets of Paris, picked up by his coach, and now here in the UFC, idolized Mike Tyson, and he's a boxer first. But as we've seen, he has 3 submission victories: arm triangle, armbar, and Kimura. So he does have a submission game. He does have some wrestling. Curtis Blades, I believe, is the highest level wrestler he's fought. Stipe is a Division I ranked wrestler. I believe Curtis is ranked higher than him. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know that, the ranking of Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades' fight got stopped due to a doctor stoppage because of a bad cut, so we never saw how that would have played out. But he took him into the second round. We've never really seen him go past that because he knocks everybody out. Sleeps them. Francis does. He is huge. 6'8", 6'7", 250 plus when he comes in. He usually has to cut weight to get down there. He is athletically something we have not seen in the heavyweight division. He is agile. He jumps high. He has good lateral movement, good angles. He just moves, but he's athletic. He seems to be a bit flexible. He goes to the ground. So just athletically speaking, he seems to have God-given gifts that are better than most of the heavyweights, just natural God-given talent. Now, he's soaking everything up like a sponge. He's very new to this. So Stipe, by the way, but Francis is newer to this. We're seeing new skills every fight that we see him in. And the last fight against Alistair Overeem, where it looked like he almost took off Alistair's head with that a combination kind of a hook uppercut we saw from him, and even in slow motion it looked worse. It looked like Alistair's neck elongated. It was incredible. And we saw from the movement, Alistair tried to wrap him up, tried to get him to the fence, didn't want to be in space with him, but he's so strong, he just roughed him up. Get off me. And Alistair has good wrestling. So this man, physically, his natural gifts and his mind seems to be right there with it. He's making adjustments during the fight. He's moving well. He seems to be thinking during the fight. If his mental matches his physical talents. Ooh. Now, let's get on to the champion. I feel bad, the disrespect that Stipe has taken. Stipe, of course, he's about to make history here, trying to make history here with the title defenses. Moves also way better than the other heavyweights, has great body control, has, of course, all the heavyweights have one knockout punch power, has great wrestling. Again, let me know the ranking of Curtis Blades. If not, Stipe is probably going to be the highest caliber wrestler that Francis has fought. Stipe has also gone 5 rounds multiple times. I do think the longer this goes, the more in favor of Stipe Miocic. His body movement, the angles he has, the footwork he has, he's getting better every time we see him. Look, the way he won the belt against Fabricio Verdum, going backwards off the back foot with an angle to cut into the, dipping out the way, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Stipe is underrated in this, or excuse me, he's the underdog in this. He's the betting underdog in this. Let's just talk about all the hoopla. Look, I was watching an interview with Stipe and Ariel Helwani, and Ariel just asked him, do you think the UFC wants Francis to beat you? And he said, yes. Yes, I do think. And the answer to that is yes. Everybody wants Francis to beat you. And it has nothing to do with Stipe. And it just has everything to do with Francis. He's so exciting. The heavyweight champion is supposed to be the most exciting man on planet Earth, bigger than life. And it seems like Stipe is just satisfied with holding the belt and being the man in Cleveland. You know, I love that he's keeping his job as a firefighter. I know that he's a man of his community and helps out and is a good heart and good soul and great personality that I think he chooses not to put forward. I just think that he is satisfied having the belt and being the man in Cleveland. And unfortunately, when you have the fastest rising mainstream sport in the world that's trying to get money, these people are trying to get paid. These fighters are trying to get paid. We need stars. You got a number of their highest earners are out. Conor out. Ronda out. John Jones out. Some of the Nate Diaz out, waiting for money or holding off for money. So you got some of their highest earners out right now. They need stars. Yeah, Stipe. They want Francis to beat you. The story here, coming from the streets, shoveling sand and manual labor, his father being a famous street fighter, to the streets of Paris. His coach, well, I like his coach. His coach says, oh, you're moving to the States? I'm coming with you. Y'all not taking my athlete from me. We all moving to the States. I like that coach. Coach say, y'all ain't taking him from me. So the personality. Francis has emotes 10 times the personality as Stipe with his broken English. And again, it's not that Stipe doesn't have it. With Holly Holmes, I get on her case a lot. She tries, though. I just think it's not in her. With Stipe, I just think he doesn't try. I don't think he wants it. And so in order to grow the sport, in order to inject life and excitement back into the heavyweight division, in order to get them dollars and spread it worldwide, if Francis wins, this will be world news. This will be news in Europe and in France. This will be news in Africa, all of Africa. This will be news in the US. This will probably be news in South America. This will be worldwide. The dollar signs that they see where France is, honey, and we all see it. And I think that Stipe might play spoiler here. I saw what I think might be arrogance in Francis from these last few interviews. I hope not, because Francis, if you win, the UFC is ready to give you the world. And I want to see it. But I do think Stipe is going to play spoiler. I think Stipe is going to drag him out into the later rounds, and then we're really going to see what he's made of. But I want to see this as much as everyone else, so I have to put all my chips into Francis Ngannou. Please, make our dreams come true. All right, let me know your picks. You'll probably see this too late for the UFC in St. Louis, Missouri, but let me know your picks anyway, and of course the outcome of that fight that will happen later on here in a couple of hours. Let me know your picks, any injury updates for UFC 220. How excited are we? 2 title fights on the card, and don't sleep. That Thomas Almeida fight, Rob Font's going to be good. Don't sleep on these other names, and the prelims look good as well. But of course, we're all looking at that heavyweight title fight. Will Stipe make history? Will a star be born? So let me know how you do, your thoughts and desires. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm on Snapchat now. Subscribe, like, talk to me, take care, and goodbye.